water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named Aang. And although his airbending skills are great, he has a lot to learn before he's ready to save anyone. But I believe Aang can save the world.
Hello everybody, my name is Ben and welcome to my long-awaited Avatar: The Last Airbender showcase. I think I've been saying long-awaited a lot recently, even though it's probably just long-awaited by me. But man, this is a showcase I've literally wanted to make for years. I've just kind of never found the time, and this year, since there have not been any movies whatsoever, I just decided to finally make some Avatar figures. And I don't know, it's kind of ironic because I don't know if the timing of this video is either going to make it like really good, like a lot of people are watching Avatar now and will know what it is and will like the video, or if it's really bad because I'm going to look like another normie making Lego Avatar figures just because it's popular now. But I do want to clarify for all of you who think that I'm a normie. I'm not criticizing anyone for making Avatar Lego stuff when Avatar is popular. But I'm just saying I started these in December, which was long before we even knew that this show was gonna be on Netflix and the people were gonna be super into it again. So just to clarify, I'm not a normie. I love this show so much. I've already binged it 3 times this year. And every time, like, originally the showcase was going to be smaller, with just, like, I don't know, like 5 figures, and then every time I watched it, I would just feel guilty for not making, like, every figure in the show. So now it is an 11 minifigure showcase. And yeah, also, thank you to my good friend Boys on the Block for making the intro, if it should be in it. That's part of the reason this video took kind of long to make. He's been working on that really hard, and I think it looks really cool. I haven't seen the whole thing by the time I'm recording this, but what I've seen looks really cool, so thank you to him. And I'm just going to get right into it, because we have a lot of figures to review. Of course, the first figure is Aang, the Avatar himself, and I'm just going to go ahead and get his accessory out of the way, because it's a pretty big accessory. I made his glider, so basically this is a basically like with Ninjago dragons. They come with a plastic the wings are made out of, and there's some leftover plastic, so I used some of that and painted it up and everything, so that way it kind of can flap around like his glider and be sort of bendy. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. So yeah, moving on to actual Aang. I think he's a pretty cool figure. So the first thing you really notice is this paper accessory, which this was the first time I made something like this, but I made a lot since then. So it actually connects like a Lego cape with 3 holes to go around his neck. I usually don't do that. I usually just glue it to the figures. So I think that was a pretty cool inclusion. I was inspired by gosh, I forgot his name. I'll put it on the screen, but he made some an Avatar minifigure series, and I was inspired by him to basically do colored eyes, but just put a black line above them. So I did that with all of the characters here. I decided to give him one of his more happy expressions. His arrow sort of glows in the dark, but not really enough. I thought that would be cool for like the Avatar shader, but whatever. But it doesn't really. And then he has the hands have the arrows painted on them, and of course the head does as well. I was kind of just talking about that. And then I painted the belt. Maybe it should have been E-tape, but I painted the belt on there and painted his little shoes. And yeah, that's it for Aang, I guess. The next figure isn't really a minifigure, it's more of an accessory for Aang, but that would be Momo, who was a figure I wasn't going to include, but I decided to do anyways. So just like in Avatar, he's actually a mesh between a monkey and a bat, even though I think he's actually a lemur and a bat, of course, yeah. But, so I used the body of a monkey and then the arms of a bat that I sculpted little minifigure heads on, and I sculpted a brand new head with some ears and the tail, which it took a lot of sculpting and then a lot of painting, but I think it looks really good. He's just all painted in white with little brown accents, and then has the little green eyes with the white dots and the black nose and mouth. Very simple, but I just want to make Momo, so that's Momo. The next figure is probably my least favorite member of Team Avatar. Don't sue me, but she is, and that is Katara. And she was the first figure I made, except for I edited her a little afterwards, or a lot afterwards, to kind of fit with how the other figures looked. Mostly because I had a different face, this face, which I didn't like whatsoever, and I decided to make her sort of angry mom expression that she usually has. She uses one of these braided hair pieces that I sanded in the front quite a bit, so that way it didn't look as poofy, I guess. And then I sculpted her little hair loopies or whatever. And then the torso is really simple, but I think it turned out really cool. I gave it a little E-tape belt. Her accessory is just this little blue power blast piece, which I thought looked kind of like some water, which is a little lame, but whatever. She has a paper skirt piece over some dark blue painted legs with the little gray boots. I basically her Sokka and Aang are all their season 1 variants, even though a couple of figures have their season 2 variants. I just kind of went all over the place, but this is her season 1 variant, and she has some more painted details on her arms. And yeah, that is it for Katara. Next up is Sokka, who might be my favorite character in the series besides maybe Toph. But yeah, I always loved Sokka. So I gave him a lot of accessories, and I even meant to give him more. I was really torn between a lot of things. Like, I also wanted to include his space sword and hockey and Fufu Cuddly Poops and just a lot of his accessories. I even considered some cactus juice at one point, but I still gave him a lot of accessories, so I'm going to go over those real fast. So of course he has Boomerang. I would feel terrible if I didn't give him Boomerang, so it is a white Captain Boomerang that I just painted a little bit of blue onto, and then added the 2 little dots there. Very simple, but it looks awesome, I think, at least. And then he has his little Warriors Club, or whatever it's called, which uses the top of a brown staff piece, which I just painted the bottom, and then used some cardboard at the top, as well as the sculpted ball to make the little club part. And then probably the most unexpected accessory, but probably my favorite, is his bag. My favorite Avatar episode of all time has always been The Blind Bandit, and I love the joke of, I've told people before that I think the best start to anything ever is whenever Sokka says, "It's pricey, but I like it." I just love that episode so much, so I just had to make his bag, which is a suitcase with the handle taken off, attached to a purse accessory thing. So, yeah, that's all of Sokka's a million accessories. Moving on to the actual figure, his hairpiece is fully sculpted. It's on a piece of foil, so it's pretty easily removable. And then I gave him a smirk expression. Thought that would be pretty funny. I think his face turned out really good. And then I drew painted the colored parts of his hair. I mean, not the colored, but like the faded parts of his hair onto his head. And then he has an E-tape accessory of his little string to his boomerang or whatever, and the boomerang case is on his back there. And then he also has little paper accessory for his little cloth there, and in the back, as well as painted on. I kind of wish it was 3D, but the place where he puts his little club, I'm kind of forgetting the names of everything here, but yeah, and then he just has his painted arms, and I kind of never know what to say when I'm talking about painted arms or something. Just be like, yeah, I painted on there. So that's Sokka. Scratch that about Sokka. Toph is definitely my favorite character of all time. I just have a lot of favorite characters in this show. Like, I think I made a character tier list where I put basically everyone in S tier. But yeah, she's my favorite, so I wanted to do her justice. And if you want to know how to make her hair, you can clickety-click that thing right up there, and it shows you how I sculpted that if you want to sculpt one yourself. So yeah, I don't really need to go over it very much. It's just the grandma hairpiece with the bun, and the hair here sculpted on, and the little parts on the side, and then this part here is actually E-tape. And yeah, her face I based off of a very specific shot from, I'm trying to think, from the Blind Bandit. One of her eye got messed up from her hair always being in the way. But of her kind of smirk in that episode, I really wanted to make that facial expression because, again, the Blind Bandit is my absolute favorite episode. She has a little E-tape band around her torso, which I think turned out really good. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this part, yeah, this part right here is 3D as well. It's E-tape, you can't really tell, but yeah, that part, is it? Actually, am I? Yeah, it is. And then her arms, I did this little trick that I like to do sometimes, this super cool trick where I chop off the top part of a minifigure stud, like this part on their head here, and then you can put that around their hands to be like bracelets. So I did that for her bracelets, and then I gave her, paper cloth there, as well as some custom made mid legs. They do not look the most pretty from the back, but I think they turned out better than the custom Sonic mid legs. They are kind of more far apart than minifigure legs, but that's okay because Toph squats a lot, so I'm alright with that. So yeah, that's Toph. That's also why I can't get her on her minifigure stand, but that's Toph. The first season 3 outfit character is Zuko, because I think anybody that likes season 1 outfit Zuko better than season 3 just stop being an Avatar fan. I'm just kidding. I'm really just kidding. Yeah, so he has a fully custom face just like all of them do, with the painted scar on there and everything. He's got a more angry expression. I'm pretty happy with that. He uses the new Harry Potter hairpiece, which I think really works better for him. I've seen a lot of people use different hairpieces for Zuko here. Some people use a skater hairpiece, some people use the Cole hairpiece, the second Cole hairpiece, not the first one. No, that's also the skater hairpiece. But I think this Harry Potter one works best. And then he has his little robe part here is paper, to make it look more 3D, as well as he has an E-tape belt around it. I think the detailing on that turned out really cool looking. He has the same fire blast piece as Katara to represent a little bit of that fire he's got going on. And then he has, of course, the painted arms with the sleeves, and his little shoes, I think, turned out really good. I tried to make him look pointy because he's got those elf shoes, by painting some light gray, not light green, at the bottom there. And that is Sifu Hawk. Sookie is the first figure that I wasn't originally planning on making, but I just kind of made anyway, and I'm very happy I did, because she's another one of my favorite characters, and I could probably say that for every character in this showcase. But yeah, she uses the hair from Han Solo's girlfriend or whatever, Kira, I think, that I sculpted her little triangle part on, and then did some E-tape for this part right here, the little gold part, and then some more E-tape around the back. It doesn't look very good from the back, sorry about that, as well as I cut up some little ropes to sort of be the parts from her headpiece that kind of hang down. I think her face looks probably the best, because white is a lot easier to paint on than skin color or flesh. I mean light flesh or whatever you want to call it. And then I think her blue eyes look really cool. And yeah, she has a sanded torso with a E-tape belt, and I know those aren't E-tape. I was gonna say I think those are E-tape, but they're not. She has, of course, I really enjoyed creating the. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of messages. That's pretty annoying. I really enjoyed creating the Kyoshi outfits because I think they're some of the coolest outfits in the show. I painted a fan gold to be her golden fan weapon, and she can be like, and kill all the Fire Nation people. Why is everybody messaging me? I swear. And then she has a paper dress with a little bit of E-tape right there to be her sort of top part coming down onto the dress. And then her little painted shoes, and that is Sookie. I think I would be a terrible person to not make a custom of Uncle Iroh, so I did make a custom of Uncle Iroh, and yeah, I think he actually looks pretty good. He started out with a minifigure head that I sculpted on to give him sort of a bigger forehead, and then sculpted all his hair and his beard, which took a while, and it doesn't look the best, but I like it. And then I put another minifigure stud on top with his little bun I sculpted into the minifigure stud. And yeah, his face is probably my least favorite. It's just really hard to paint on peach flesh or light flesh or whatever you want to call that. And then I sculpted his shoulder pads as well, and sculpted his big old belly. And yeah, he has a season 1 outfit. I was going to make his White Lotus outfit. I guess that's a spoiler, but the show's been out for like over 10 years now, so I don't even care. But I was gonna make his White Lotus outfit, but I decided to make this one instead. And then he has a paper, I guess, skirt piece with the E-tape belt. I'm saying paper and E-tape a lot because a lot of these figures use that, and I think that makes them look really cool. And then I decided to make his White Lotus tile as an accessory. I thought that would be really cool. I was also inspired by that minifigure series I talked about earlier to do that. Actually, a different minifigure series. And yeah, that's Uncle Iroh. I think Azula is one of the coolest villains of all time, and I really wanted to make her in this series because she is so awesome. So I used that same grandma hairpiece I used for Toph, but I sculpted her bangs or whatever on the side there, and then made a little cardboard Fire Nation, whatever you want to call that, headpiece or whatever. She uses the same sort of technique to give her this paper part that I did for Aang, just a little bit shorter. I gave her some blue fire because I thought that would look cool because she uses blue fire a lot in the show. And then she has the paper dress piece, and she's based off her season 3 outfit as well from the last couple of episodes because I like that outfit a lot better. So yeah, I gave her one of her very famous evil smirks, which I think looks really good. And then, of course, all the details on her arms and legs, and yeah, that's Azula. I kind of don't know what to say in the showcase. I guess it's been a little while since I've reviewed a lot of figures like this. Yeah, that's Azula. These last 3 figures were super close to not making the cut, but whenever it came out on Netflix and we watched it on our 3rd binge this year, I was just like, man, I need to make more Avatar figures. So I did. So this is May, who is not my favorite character in the show, but I like her design a lot, and still she's an Avatar character, which means she's an S tier. And so yeah, her hairpiece is almost fully sculpted. It started out as one of those Mutt Williams Chain Bricks hairpieces, and then I sculpted all of this stuff. I don't know how to talk about girl hair ever. And then I did a lot of 3D accessories, So she has 2 E-tape sort of strips there, and then 1 E-tape belt there, as well as she has actually 2 paper skirts. That's like a Just a Nerd record. She actually has 2 paper skirts, this one on the outside and this one on the inside, which I think looks really cool. That gives it a really, really nice 3D effect. She also has, of course, her knives, which I painted silver and put the little dark red parts on the inside. And she has her little black elf boots, just like Zuko, and that is May. The last of the dangerous ladies is Ty Lee, who I think looks super cute. Again, not one of my favorite characters in the show, but I like her design a lot, and I just wanted to make a lot of Avatar figures. Her hair started out as a wild style hair, but I cut off the little ponytail and sculpted my own, which I think looks so cool. I'm so proud of her hair. And her face, I think, looks really good as well. She has a paper sort of cape accessory, except for not really a cape, I don't know what you call that. And then some E-tape to represent her crop top. And then has the same minifigure stud thing I did for Toph on her arms. And another paper skirt, believe it or not. I've made so many of those for these figures. Just very bright custom, lots of pink, which is a color I don't use much, so I thought it was kind of fun to make. And yeah, that's Ty Lee. The very last figure is, believe it or not, Zuko again, but not, but not just any Zuko, but Zuko is the blue spirit, which was a figure that I thought would be super cool to make. Another one inspired by the minifigure series I was talking about earlier. But yeah, I used the 2 Ninjago Lloyd Garmadon swords because those work perfectly for him, and then made him this little mask out of cardboard that's attached to a Lego Ninjago piece. I can't really get it off, but he does have a face underneath that doesn't look that great. It's just like a Batman face that I painted the scar on. But yeah, and then he has a couple of E-tape accessories. Very simple figure because he's basically all one color. But I think he looks really cool and just kind of rounds off the Avatar figures in a neat way, because I like the blue spirit a lot. And that is the blue spirit. Thank you all so much for watching my Avatar The Last Airbender showcase. It's been a blast. I'm so happy I could finally make figures for this show. I've loved it for like almost my whole life. Like, wow. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't watched Avatar yet, first of all, I don't know how you managed to make it to the end of this video, but second of all, go watch it. It's on Netflix. And I mean, some people think that like that's a bad thing, because now with everybody liking Avatar is a normie thing, which I mean, it is kind of weird. Everybody's jumping on the trend now, but but I don't care. Go watch it. It's a good show. You'll like it. I don't care who you are. You're gonna love this show. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stick around. Got some more showcases coming soon. I'm also working on another Avatar project, actually two. One of them is I'm building Appa, so hopefully I will release a video on that once it's done. But other than that, there's another secret project that I've mentioned in another video before. You'll just have to try to find it. And then remember again, you can win these figures and a custom-made figures and a shout-out if you enter my custom minifigure contest. All you had to do is go a couple videos back, post a video of you making a custom in the description, and boom, you could win some stuff, mate. So you should do that, because I know you're a great customizer, my friend. So yeah, thanks for watching. Stick around. I don't really have a lot of, I'm kind of just winging it with customs right now. I don't really have anything in general I'm working on, but I'll hopefully get some more stuff out soon. Again, thanks to Boys on the Block for making the intro, and see you guys around. Goodbye.